Hello Internet, and welcome to my channel. I'm the Agnostic Canuck, and I will be broadcasting to you from the Great White North. All the sources I'll be using in this video will be linked in the description down below if possible. The article we shall be delving into today is a hard copy, so please do follow up on what you hear and read for yourself if you can. Critical thought is key. Now let's begin. Today we will be continuing our conversation on the It's Okay to Be White movement. For those who don't know, some people have been running around posting pieces of paper with the benign phrase, "It's okay to be white." The article we're going to be covering today is by Vicky Moama, who writes for the Metro, titled "On a Year of Trump." Here's a copy of the full article. Now, Moama starts us off here by stating, it has been 1 year since Donald Trump was elected, and it's felt like 10. She's had a really shitty year. I don't know what's been going on in her personal life, but I think she's got an axe to grind with someone somewhere. She goes, "I want to say that as a Canadian, nothing he has done or tried to do," what are we on, the fourth or round 4 of the Muslim ban, "affects me, but I can't pretend it hasn't." The Muslim ban wouldn't affect you because you live in Canada. There would be no issue with you going to the United States, so that's completely irrelevant. So how else has Trump affected you as a Canadian? I would venture to argue that it hasn't, in almost no way, shape, or form. The closest we've had is vague discussions about NAFTA being rediscussed, but that hasn't come to pass in any way, shape, or form. So I assume later in the article she's going to tell us about how Trump and his policies and the actions he's taken has affected her as a Canadian so terribly. She goes on to say, at least in the last year, it has sharpened her politics and added urgency to the issues that matter to me. Well, that's a silver lining at the very minimum. Trump has made her more aware and focused on politics. Sounds like she's more educated now. Score 1 for Trump. So for Mochama, the last year has laid bare the things that we, women, black people, indigenous people, Muslims, had been told not to talk about. What that is, what she means by that, like the list of topics, she doesn't go into say whatsoever. Just vague information. She goes on, "We are harder to gaslight now because, well, we told you so. So you guys are harder to manipulate you to believe that you're crazy because reasons." Sure. Because that's convincing. Completely unconvincing and completely unhelpful to the conversation. Putting it into a us versus them dichotomy never gets us anywhere. It's not an inclusive effort for all of us. It's a us versus them. Us, she's yet to identify, but this list of people, also in Canada, Indigenous people are called Aboriginals. Indigenous is not the correct terminology, so great that this is posted in Canada. Moving on. She goes on to say, "But the passing of time has also revealed and made public those things we couldn't always prove but knew to be true." Again, no further explanation. Just vague claims of information and us versus them dichotomy and political baiting. It's nothing helpful and doesn't add to any conversation whatsoever. She's yet to provide any meaningful discussion. She then does explain what the topic of the actual paper is finally, 4 paragraphs in. "A series of posters at the University of Alberta and University of Calgary have been seen on campus. They say in bold all caps that it's okay to be white. They may have been put up as a result of a post on a 4chan message board." Okay, topic established. Her next paragraph goes on as, "Racist incidents have always been part of university life. There is no point at which the majority white status quo have ever received change with anything less than hostility." Now, this is obviously a over-exaggeration, to say the very least, of someone who is really ill-equipped to make any more of a nuanced argument. But let's be honest here. Any group can view anything as hostile, and any group can be hostile towards something that they don't like, or they don't know, or they don't understand. Whether it's a predominantly white status group, or a minority black status group, or if it's a religious group within another group, people will be hostile towards something they don't like. For example, here's a video of people protesting against Milo Yiannopoulos, someone who is for the better part of the discussion, a very pro-white individual. Whether it's a violent protest against Milo Yiannopoulos or a violent protest against Ben Shapiro, both were very public figures who regularly do speeches to large groups of people and talks, both of which have been shut down due to violent protesting in North America. Violent protests happen regardless of what group you're from. Now, this is saying that violent protests can come from any group. But Mochama here is saying that the white majority status quo is the only ones that are making this hostile change, and rather than the violent protests that you see in these types of videos where people are smashing windows and burning large parts of campus, don't focus on that. Focus on, look, this is way more offensive. This is way more upsetting. This is way more racist. These are pieces of fucking paper that say it's okay to be white? How fucking dare they? Did you see how, like, that's, like, kind of not the same thing in any way, shape, or form, and it kind of makes her argument kind of ridiculous. Now, it's the end of this next paragraph that Mochama blows my mind with the double standard hypocrisy of the racism that one side is allowed to feel that they can purport and feel that it is completely acceptable. She writes, the people who put them up, that is the individuals who put up the posters that are, it's okay to be white, they feel that whiteness should be allowed to take up space. Like, think about that. Whiteness should be allowed to take up space. Her saying that it should not be allowed. Whiteness should not exist, is what she is saying. Whiteness should not be allowed to take up space. It should not be allowed anywhere. Imagine you were in a public space, let's just say on a bus, and the individuals across in the seats from you are having a conversation. One of them turns to the other and goes, we shouldn't allow the blacks to have culture, to take up space, to have... How is this published in a newspaper in Canada? It's completely fucked. It is so fucked. How can people think that this is an acceptable train of thought to have towards a group of people, regardless of their color of their skin, their race, their culture, their religion? It is fucked to say this about a group of people. It is so fucked up. Now, Mochama has to realize that it's exactly sentiments like this, that whiteness should not be allowed to take up space, that people are putting pieces of paper up saying it's okay to be white. Because there are people out there who are putting in newspapers that hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of people read, saying you should not be allowed to take up space in public areas. You should not be allowed to exist in public areas. How can your not knee-jerk reaction, if you were a group of people like that, to say it's okay to be insert skin color, insert religion, insert whatever is being attacked? That is a completely rational and normal reaction to people like this who are saying you should not be allowed to take up space. She also says that white pride is running unabated and rampant across campuses. Should I not be proud to be white? Should I be ashamed just to be white? Is that what you're saying? Because that's really fucked up as well. Saying that someone should be ashamed of their skin color. That is incredibly and equally as fucked up. I have no idea how this got published. She has the audacity to say this, when not even 2 paragraphs earlier, she said that Trump's racist rhetoric had been emboldened. And then finishing up her entire article saying that the racists who seek division are getting braver. You're talking about yourself, you racist, ignorant fuck. Thanks for stopping by my channel, guys. Hope you've enjoyed my conversation on this article. If you have anything to add to it, please feel free to develop a discussion in the comment section down below. Hit that like and subscribe button if you want to hear more about our ongoing politics and events from a Canadian perspective. You've been listening to the Agnostic Canuck, and farewell from the Great White North.